What's up everyone, welcome back to an Impact review. A bit of a sad Impact. The Rascalz' final ever night in Impact Wrestling. The Rascalz are apparently moving on to WWE. I really hope after the stuff with Zelina Vega they take a look at it and just go, nah. And if they do, I hope they phone up and go, give us a lot more money, because last night they proved they're worth it. But let's just start the show where it started, and Moose came to the ring for his Turning Point rematch, a no disqualification match with Willie Mack. The match started off really hot as Willie just came right out of the gate, tripped him up, just was firing in strikes, just being one of the quickest and best big men in the world. Like, Willie Mack started off really hot, and Willie Mack showed a lot of babyface fire right out of the gate. They brawled to the outside, and then Moose stood up against the guardrail. Willie Mack came flying in. Moose moved out the way, and he just took a fucking nasty looking bump flying over it. Moose then walked round the guardrail, threw him back over it, and across to the other side and into the other guardrail at the opposite side of the ring. Moose was firmly in control now. They go back in the ring, and Moose sends Willie into the ropes and goes for a drop kick, but Willie hauls himself on the ropes as Moose just misses it, lands on his back, nips up, challenges Willie to come in, sends him past the gate, and then hits him with an unreal looking drop kick. Moose slowed the pace down very quickly to make it really slow, very methodical. But his taunting actually led to be, not his downfall, but led to give... Moose slowed the pace a lot, being very methodical and very just a big evil bastard. But it did give Willie room for a big comeback, and just one of the best. As Willie made his comeback, he hit Moose with 3 big lariats, but was unable to knock the big man off his feet. He hit the ropes, came back, Moose hit him with a pump kick to stop him right in the middle of the ring, hit the ropes again, and as Moose came in, Willie just picked him up, Samoan drop, nipped up, standing moonsault, and every time he does that, it's just as amazing as the first time I saw it. Shortly after, Willie did go for the stunner, but Moose blocked it and tried for the discus lariat, but Willie ducked that and hit him with that big spinning scoop slam before going up to the top rope for the 6-star frog splash. Unfortunately for Willie Mack, though, he was unable to connect with the move, and after missing, Moose hit him with the lights out, that big spear, and just like at the end of Turning Point, went over and just ground and pound, and just kept going in with vicious elbows, and the match was called off. And once again, after they won the match, Moose went back and continued to just rain down elbows on Willie Mack, this time collecting the winner's purse as it was an ODQ match. And yeah, this match was great. Didn't feel like an ODQ match, except for the start when they brawled outside the ring, and the end with the finish being replicated from Turning Point, but this time Moose didn't have the decision overturned. Functioned like a normal match, really, but it was really good, so it doesn't really lose too many points for that. Like I said in my Turning Point review, Moose and Willie Mack are 2 of the best big men on the planet, if you can realistically even call them big men, and as I said in my video yesterday, Willie Mack is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world, and so is Moose. And that's a very good way to open the show. We then got the final ever Treehouse, and this was sad. They just recapped their favourite moments in the Treehouse, like Wentz going on a date with Gail Kemp and the Jonas Brothers, and the time that Moose invaded the Treehouse and killed everyone, and that Trey cried in his car because Moose punched him really hard in the face. And they were just there having a laugh and having a great time, and then the lights go off, and you hear one of them go, "Oh, we're still in the Treehouse, we're not gone yet." And then someone goes, not only did we not pay anything, we also forgot to pay the light bill. And that was the final ever Treehouse. And it was good. I had a lot of fun watching it. I've loved the Rascalz every time I've watched Impact. I've tried to get back into Impact quite a lot before Slammiversary this year, over the past couple of years, and the Rascalz were always a constant highlight for me. I do think Impact missed a trick by never putting any championships on any of them. The only one with any listed accomplishments from Impact Wrestling in his Wikipedia is Dez. He won the Turkey Bowl in 2018, they won the Super X Cup in 2017. That's it. Like I said, the Rascalz were a constant highlight for me every time I tried to get back into Impact, and the Treehouse was a massive part of that. And the final Treehouse was a bittersweet moment, but it's good to know that they're still, the Rascalz, they reminded us just how good they were over the years in Impact. The Dealers then were backstage next, looking for Tommy Dreamer in his Deerstalker and his Sherlock Holmes outfit, and they go, "We've got a lead on who shot Johnny Bravo. You better go find Johnny Swinger. You want to speak to him." And then they all get up in each other's faces, and Cousin Jake bips Tommy's nose. It was weird, but I quite enjoyed it. After that, then we go to the ring, and Suicide's on his way to the ring to wrestle a man called Gio. No second name. I'm trying to work out who Suicide is right now. I think it might be Caleb Conley. Possibly. I don't know. Anyway, all I know is the match started. There was like 4 moves had taken place before Eric Young and Joe Dorian came in the ring and killed both of them. Then Eric Young got on a mic and said, "This is what happens when you don't listen to me. This is what happens when you give other people opportunities that I deserve. The downfall of Impact is on Impact and no one else." The first of 2 back-to-back backstage segments happened next after the match, and it was Deonna and Kimber were backstage being interviewed by Gia. And Gia was asking them what are their thoughts leading up to the Knockouts Tag Title Tournament with their match being next week. And Deonna said, "Look, I've been here. I've not even been here that long. I'm a 2-time Knockouts champion. Why would I not add first ever Knockouts Tag Champ of this new title reign back onto myself? Why would I not want to be the one doing that?" And then Kimber says, "Look, I appreciate what you've done for me as your curator. You killed Su Yung. You destroyed her for what she did to me. You got revenge for me. And now I think it's time the curator gets a little bit of gold. What do you think?" I said, couldn't have said it better myself. I'll have 2 belts. My best friend, she'll have 1. We'll rule the Knockouts division. And we've got rid of Su Yung." And then the lights start going and the camera starts shaking. But when the camera stops shaking, there is writing on the mirror behind them from Su Yung. And I think it says, "Next week your time was up," or "Your time will come." So I wonder what's going to happen next week. I'm excited either way. Following that then, we go to Heath and Rhino in their little locker room. And Heath says, "I was speaking to Swann, I got his physical therapist number, I'm going to get my leg healthy. My leg is going to be fine, I'm going to be back sooner than you think, we're going to wrestle for those tag team titles." And Rhino looks out the door, says, "Okay, that's cool, wait there, you just wait here." He walks out and he shuts the door behind him. And it's Eric Young and Joe Dorian. And he says, "So what you guys did out there, you think you can just come in here and ruin everything? Well, we're not going to stand for it, we're not going to take it." And then Rhino just gets jumped. Don't know why he thought anything else was going to happen. As Rhino's getting jumped then, the door opens and Heath sees what's happening. And then Rhino and Joe Dorian go in and close the door and presumably murder poor Heath. Poor boy. Brian Myers wrestling Crazy Steve next. Crazy Steve was out to get revenge for what happened to Swoggle at Turning Point. And this match was fun. Not a lot happened. It was just a really good showcase of both men. Crazy Steve really impressed me right out the gate. Hit a very big, impressive head scissors. Really brutal looking tarantula submission at one point. But like I said, it didn't do much for storyline progression. It just made both men look amazing, and eventually Brian Myers was able to pick up the win with his big running clothesline. I do like that they're not putting him in more weird nothing storylines right now. I like how this match has a reason for existing, but I do think Brian Myers should be moving on to the world title sooner than later. And I think just giving him matches where he's got a bit of a story, but it doesn't have any after stuff or before, just a match with someone that doesn't like him, they've got a reason for not liking him. He wrestles them, he beats them, eventually he takes on Rich Swann. That's what I want to see, and that looks like where we're going. So I'm all happy with this, I'm all good with this. Back to the case of who shot Bravo. Johnny Swinger's being interviewed by Tommy Dreamer, and he goes, "What you got in the fanny pack?" And he's like, "I got all the gimmicks you want. You want trail mix, you want snacks, you want anything, it's all in here." And then he's like, "Is that a Magnum?" Because you can see the handle of the gun sticking out. And he pulls out a condom and he goes, there you go, Tommy, take that." Tommy just grabs it and puts it in his pocket, obviously. And he goes, "No, that." And then he pulls the gun out. And he's like, "Yep, gotta keep it, bro. Gotta keep it on me. Always keep it on me. The swingman always stays protected." And then Tommy announces that it's clear that he's guilty, so next week, Tommy Dreamer and the boys will preside over, Tommy Dreamer will preside over Wrestler's Court, and the boys will decide his fate. Oh, I love all the stuff they're doing with Tommy Dreamer. It's so good. I'm excited for next week. That segment's going to be amazing. The first round of the Knockouts Tag Title Tournament began with Alicia and Tenille wrestling Havoc and Nevaeh. And this match was fine. I liked it. I don't really know why you put Tenille in a nothing tag team to, spoilers, go out in the first round, but hey, it's fun. So the match started with Alicia and Nevaeh, and Alicia was just being really ruthless, and not ruthless, but trying her hardest and being like a little pit bull, I guess what Vince always called Rey Mysterio. Pretty much hitting out with all that. Then Tenille came in, there was a bit back and forth, but as soon as Havoc came in, Tenille was out of there, Tenille was gone. As Havoc and Nevaeh started making a bit of a comeback later on down the line, Tenille just shoved Alicia right into Havoc for a big clothesline and ran. Just got out of there. And Havoc and Nevaeh picked up the win over poor little Alicia, and we'll move on to the next round of the tournament. This match was fine, like I said. I don't really get it. Don't get why I put Tenille in it. Did not have her win. But you kind of knew that as soon as she was going to team with Alicia, because I don't think that's an odd couple tag team that really works the way that Grace and Tenille would, but okay, whatever. And speaking of Jordan Grace, actually, the next segment was just her, stood in front of a wall on her phone, talking to her tag team partner. We don't know who it is, but we'll find out next week, so I'm excited for that. Hernandez is still looking for his big roll of money that he made arm wrestling everyone, including that time he arm wrestled Rhino for a week straight. And he's wrestling Falaba, the man who stole it from him, but no longer has it. As we found out last week, it was stole from him by Akira Hogan and Tasha Steelz. This match was actually really good. Hernandez is 50, and almost immediately was sent up the corner, went up and over to the outside, and then right back in with that slingshot shoulder block. And then just went and just did a dive to the outside, up over the top rope, got all of his big, like 6'8" frame up and over like it was nothing. It was insane. Hernandez won in about 4 minutes with a big splash, and still does not have his money, but I mean, he's still class. I love him. Before the main event, we had 2 more backstage segments. The first of which, Rohit was talking to Scott D'Amore, and he was in his ear and he was talking shite. And then Scott, as he leaves, Scott D'Amore just goes, "Oh, I never thought I'd say this, but I miss Austin Aries. Ah ha ha." Don't really care. It's a bit of a weird joke, whatever. I get it, but you know, it's a bit stupid. Like, why mention him if you don't have to? Anyway, then TJP walks over and he's like, "Man, I hate that guy." And Scott D'Amore's like, "Look, TJ, if I'm being completely honest, professionalism aside, I really wanted you to win." And then, you know how TJP thinks he's got comedic timing, but he doesn't. He just went, "Yeah, I wanted me to win too, haha." Fucking dick, I hate him. And then Scott D'Amore's like, "Well, but the fact is, I'm an EVP of this company, and a contract's a contract. It means TJP can never challenge for the X Division title as long as Rohit is champion." And he's like, "Yeah, I know. Why are you telling me that?" He goes, "No. What would Dusty do if Dusty was still here? Because Dusty would know what to do. All I know is no one named TJP can ever wrestle for that title when Rohit's got it. Any other wrestling personality ever can do it as long as they're not called TJP. Just fucking get this man out of the company. He's boring. He's a good wrestler, but he's a boring fucking arsehole with no comedic timing, but he thinks he's brilliant. He thinks he's better than Eddie Guerrero. He's anti-vax. I have no time for him. Why can he not just go in the ring, wrestle, leave, and never speak? I would like him if he did that. Just give it up with TJP. Give Rohit someone else, anyone else. Chris Bay. Or fucking anyone. Literally anyone. And the final promo segment before the main event, the Good Brothers were backstage with Scott D'Amore, and then Ethan Page walked over. And he's demanding his rematch, but they're saying, you know, if you can beat someone we put you up against, you'll get your rematch. It's a phenomenal opponent. Big Alan, phenomenal uncle. Oh, Alan and Wendy, they're coming. It's not going to be AJ Styles. It's just not. So I don't know why they're doing this. That's a weird, fucking, stupid segment as well. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's not going to be AJ Styles. I don't know. I don't get it. Those last 2 promo segments really wound me up. But anyway, on to, like I said at the start of the video, the best match of the night. The Rascalz and Rich Swann in that tag match, which saw Dez and Wentz take on Trey and Rich Swann. It was very emotional from the beginning, with Madison Ryan and Josh Matthews talking about all the fun they've had with the Rascalz over the 2 years they've been there, all the great stuff they've done as a part of Impact Wrestling, and now they're leaving, and it's very sad. The 3 of them walked out together as a unit, made their entrance together for the final time, and then Rich Swann walked out, and they all did Rich Swann's little dance, and it was great. And the match started, and it started with Trey and Wentz starting like slower, methodical, technical, you know, hold for hold, you know, one-upsmanship. And then they tagged out to to Dez and Swann, who did the whole one-upsmanship, but it was faster. It was like the drop down with the flip over, but landing on your feet and all the crazy stuff that they can do. And as they stop and look at each other, you just hear Trey and Wentz on the outside going, "What? Stop. I can't do that. No, don't put yourself over. We can't do that shit. No, stop that now. It's great. About 5-ish minutes in, they're really going at it, and Trey hits the colourful combination when he grabs them for the like a rock bottom, flips his foot up behind him, kicks him in the head. But instead of going back like he usually does, or going in for the neck breaker, he then swings Dez round into Wentz under his arm for a DDT, grabs him, colourful combination, neck breaker, takes out both of his tag partners. At one point, Rich Swann has Dez in the middle of the ring and Wentz up on the top rope and just hits that Rana from the canvas where he jumps up and grabs him and sends him flying with a swanton at his tag partner, but only gets a 2 count. And I thought this was, I mean, Wentz hit that like 2019 Jeff Hardy swanton bomb, not the one where he's landing here to protect his opponent, the one where he's landing like on his lower back. He's like, I'm done. You're taking all of this. One thing I did notice is obviously Wentz and Dez have been a tag team for ages. They're PWG tag champs, one of my favourite tag teams in the world. But also the chemistry between Rich Swann and Trey Miguel was incredible. There was a point as well where the 4 of them were in a circle, or a square I should say, and they were all just, I think Trey punched Dez, and then Dez punched Rich Swann, and then Swann to Wentz, and Wentz back, and they just went for like a minute going round. And then Rich Swann and Trey went to super kick Dez and Wentz, who grabbed them and swung their legs back in to Trey and Swann, who grabbed each other's legs, and then swung them back out for super kicks. And then they had another 2 super kicks on them, but there was also, it was a square of super kicks as well. It was great. I thought it was this spot was so much fun. I loved it. There was a hot fire flame on to Rich Swann. What should have been for the win, but Trey just super kicked Dez, who fell back in and broke up the cover. Shortly after that then, Trey had Wentz in the corner, hit with a cheeky Nando's kick, and then went for a 619, but Wentz stopped it. I think he put Trey up there, grabbed him for like a power bomb, and then Dez just ran the length of the ring from the other corner, jumped up and like used his feet to what looked like push off Wentz's chest for like a power bomb German suplex thing, and then Rich Swann just hit a massive frog splash onto Dez in the middle of the ring, also for 2. Just an incredible series of events there. It was amazing. Right towards the end then, the Rascalz try for a hot fire flame on Rich Swann, but he moves out the way. Dez goes over on his knee as he lands. As Dez looks up then, Trey Miguel just comes off the top rope with a big old meteora, and as he's getting up, Rich Swann hits that stalling super kick right to the back of Dez's head and puts the Rascalz away. And one thing I did not need is immediately after, they just show Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz cuddling, and they're both crying. I didn't need that. And then all of them, you see them all, the 3 of them are crying, Rich Swann's crying. And then after Rich Swann's music stops, they play the Rascalz music, and they hang their jackets over the ropes as they say goodbye to Impact Wrestling. And I wish them all the best. After that then, the final bit of the show just shows Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock jumping the 4 of them backstage, which was a weird end of the show. They should have just let it go off there with the Rascalz jackets. But like I said, that match is genuinely one of my favourite matches of this year. Like, go out your way to check it out. It's amazing. This year's been an incredible year for tag team wrestling. I think when I break down my match of the year this year, it's going to be like 60% tag matches. This is up there, maybe even top 5. And well, best of luck to the Rascalz going forward. I'm going to miss talking about them in Impact. I wish them all the best. So that was this week's Impact Wrestling review. A good show, I thought. I'll give it a strong 8 to a weak 9. Just because some of the promo segments wound me up. Specifically the last 2 promo segments, they really wound me up. And the Tenille and Alicia stuff was weird. But the main event was a perfect match. The main event was an absolute 10 out of 10. Myers and Crazy Steve was great. The opening match with Willie and Moose was great. All the wrestling was so good, but the promo stuff is what lacked this week. And sometimes it's the other way about with Impact. Sometimes it can be the promos are very, very good, but the matches are a little bit too short, a little bit too complicated. Overall, I'd probably... You know what? Because the Rascalz are leaving, and they gave literally one of my favourite matches of the year, I'll give this week's episode of Impact a 9. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the show. If you did watch the show, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and a subscribe. Share this around to all your wrestling friends. I'm trying to grow the channel. Hopefully hit 100 subs by the end of the year. And just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. 4 videos a week. possibly 5, maybe even 6, depending on how much stuff happens through the weekends. But definitely 4 videos a week, every week from now on. And that's been this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow with an AEW review.